this side of the ring because it's time for Ringside. Got a bunch of news lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen, so without further ado, we're just gonna watch the Rock and Roman Reigns segment on last week's SmackDown was scripted per SC Scoops. The script was the result of discussions between Triple H, Rock, Reigns, Paul Heyman, and Brian Gerwitz. The segment was produced by Michael Hayes, who produces nearly all of Roman's segments and matches. So there's two big takeaways from that particular promo, and one of them was when The Rock was talking, I guess presumably, to the crowd. There was a particular line that when he said it, it looked like he was talking to the crowd, but the perspective of the camera made it seem as though he was talking to Roman, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of, hey, I'm gonna show everyone that you're a loser. And he could have easily been talking to Cody, but the camera made it. Now, I didn't even notice this, because my main thought was like, wow, this promo is kind of like dry. Like, he's not really saying anything. There isn't really anything to this promo. Little did I know, there was stuff going on behind the scenes. So the first one was that he was like, it looked like he was like angling himself towards Roman, but like, I guess you could like, say that he wasn't. And then the second one was after the promo was done, and he was like, if you smell what the bloodline's cooking, and he puts ones up, right? He's got his thumb poking out. And now, I got all of this from Wrestle Talk. Shouts out to Wrestle Talk, Tempest, and, my lord, the second guy that I don't particularly remember. I apologize. But, they were like, oh, it could be that he's pointing to Roman, or it could be, apparently it's a reference from Glee, where, the L for loser. They made a good point that maybe he's just so bulbous and massive that his thumb can't fit in his palm of his own hand, so he has to poke the thumb out because of how huge and fat it is, Yeah, like I said, I was not looking into that at all. I didn't think about that, and hearing that they've got so many different people just and not for that one segment, but the point I'm trying to make is they're putting a lot of, like, effort. Like, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of cooks in this one pot, and if you've got all those people doing that simple segment, then that tells me that maybe there is something to those theories of, where he's standing and how he's pointing and stuff like that. And, the evidence of all those people surrounding one particular promo kind of lends into that, So I don't know. I'm not, what's his name? Cole Phelps from LA Noire, right? I'm not Fraud Detective. Like, I don't know. So, as much as I want to sit here and be like, oh, that's not true, that sounds, you're grasping at straws, I don't know. So, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to actually take a look at the next promo now. Now I gotta look at the next promo with, like, a magnifying glass just to see. Next, Drew McIntyre has the best odds to win the men's Elimination Chamber match on Saturday at online sportsbooks like BetOnline. Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day are big favorites to retain their titles in Australia. I think the main reason why Drew McIntyre is so likely to win is because he's the only one going in there with a story. Everybody else either already had a story, or they don't really they already like they're getting off of one and then they're going to the Elimination Chamber. The rest kind of don't really have anything going on. Like Bobby Lashley, I guess the storyline with him and the Testament are done. I guess that's over with. I mean, I guess, right? And then Kevin Owens just got finished Logan Paul, and Logan Paul just got finished. And then Randy just got done, but, like, he's still kind of, like, floating around in the background. Like, everybody except Drew McIntyre is pretty much done. Like, you're just filling it out. And if Drew doesn't win, that'll be very shocking. Just because, again, he's really the only one going in actually, like, saying something, like, actually going in and really talking about something else other than, like, hey, that guy's in there and I'm going to beat him up, like, so, I mean, just me personally, it's got me convinced that Drew is going to be the one walking out of it the winner. I could be wrong. It could be Kevin, right? It could be Logan or Bobby Lashley, just because, Lashley's probably, like, the sleeper going in. Just, like, probably, not many people probably think he's going to win. But just based off the fact that everybody else doesn't really have a whole lot to talk about going in. And Drew's kind of the only one who's really his character's really been getting fleshed out these last couple months. He's really the only one who's really been transitioning so far into, like, a completely different character. And, that, again, it just makes me believe that he's the one winning, so we'll have to wait and see. Sticking with WWE, while discussing the status of Netflix's Vince McMahon documentary series on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer questioned when or even if it will come out after the Janelle Grant and Ashley Massaro allegations. It was finished and close to release prior to Grant's lawsuit. I think so much has come out, and so much has happened, that even if you still wanted to release it, I feel like there would just be still bits of information that you just forgot to put in, or just new things have come out that you probably left out. And the time that it would take for you to go back and like sort of like shove everything in, or put a little lower third there, or a text box here, or editor's note, oh, this never actually happened, you know, I feel like it would make you think like, all right, well, either we don't release it, or we do release it and we just say, hey, there's not a lot of information on here, or we go back and we take some stuff out and we put some new stuff in, because those allegations are very serious. And, you know, there's a lot of different topics in particular that I just personally don't feel comfortable talking about. And given the severity of both of these situations, you know, it's obviously changed the perspective of a lot of different things and a lot of different, you know, we're going to say like directions and stuff. And this Netflix documentary is one of them, because if you remember, this is not the first time the Netflix documentary has been like started up and then stopped and then pushed back. Because at one point Vince was working on it, if I remember correctly. Like he wasn't like behind it, but like they were going to him about stuff. And now, you know, we're singing a completely different tune about it. You know what I mean? So don't ask me. Do not ask me if it is still going to come out. I genuinely don't know. It may. I feel like it will. I feel like it will still come out. Just maybe not in the next like month or two, and maybe not even with like the same name. You know, like if you were maybe thinking it was going to be some way, I feel like it's going to be completely different now. I don't know. Just based off of everything that's been happening so far, there's so many different ways and things you could talk about. So I don't know what's going to happen. We'll just have to wait and see. Next, WWE will be receiving a $1.676 million tax credit from the state of Ohio this year, per a Columbus Dispatch story on the $44 million the state's giving to television and film productions happening there in 2024. WWE's project isn't specified, but there's speculation it could be tied to previous rumors about Cleveland hosting SummerSlam. So there's not much to say about this, simply because I don't have the papers or the documents, right? And I'm not part of WWE's financial group. I don't have their books, so I can't run around and open it up and be like, yep, that's exactly what they spent it on. I don't 100% know. It could be for a foundation, right? It could be for a charity. Well, it's film and projects or production, so I don't know, maybe they were doing something with a foundation that had to do with film and production and projects and what have you, you know? Stuff like this, it's so broad that I don't immediately want to assume it is always the first thing, unless it is like explicitly tying itself to that, right? That's what I'm saying. It could really be anything, to be fair, you know? I mean, what is film and production, right? I mean, we could be here all year long talking about that. So, I mean, if it is SummerSlam, great. I can't wait. Would love to see what they've got going on there. Maybe The Miz and... Isn't Logan Paul from Ohio? Either way, you know. Oh no, it's Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano's from Ohio. And so is no. Well, I was gonna say John Moxley, but he's from Cincinnati. The point is, okay, there's a lot that they could do. We'll have to see what ends up happening in the near future. So until then, there's not much to speculate. Finally, former Impact World Champ Steve Maclin's TNA contract expires in May, according to Fightful Select. Now, there's not really much of this, but I want to mention something, and I think that it's only fair that we talk about it. Given the recent news that TNA has gone under with the whole, hey, we're under new management now, and none of the wrestlers seem too happy about it, right? Does this sway Steve Maclin's opinion? Because, you know, maybe at one point he was sitting there and he was saying to himself, oh, TNA is a no-brainer. I'm going to stay with TNA. Maybe I was thinking about AEW. Maybe I might go to MLW. I don't know. But you know what? I'm leaning on TNA. And now, right, you've got all this new information out, and you know, we're just gonna say it's under new management, right? Just to sum it all up, it's under new management now. Is this, at least do you think, is this swaying Steve Maclin's opinion in any way? Is Steve like, is Steve now like, oh, you know what? I was thinking about it, and now I'm thinking about going somewhere else. Or has this swayed his opinion in a completely different direction? Was he like, oh, I'm going to go to WWE or AEW, and now that it's under new management, he's like, you know what? I'm stick TNA all the way. TNA until I die, you know? So, I don't particularly know. It obviously has been affecting a lot of people, and a lot of people are taking this particular news in many different ways. And, I'm not just going to rule out Steve Macklin's emotions, and how he's dealing with all this. So I don't know if this is changing anything or if this is, potentially changing something in a completely different sense. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see if this actually does end up, making a gigantic difference in where Steve Macklin wants to go.